Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Papaya Pod, a McLaren F1 podcast. I am your host, Jimmy, and once again this week I'm joined by another amazing guest. I'm going to say it, he's Silverstone royalty. He is one of the team leaders at Silverstone, and he had the privilege to be the team leader of Landostand, that area of Silverstone, this year. And I'm sure you've probably seen him across the socials. He went pretty viral on TikTok. Good fun, dancing, just enjoying himself, making it a fun experience for all the fans that attended. And does every year, has done for the last God knows how many years, which we touch on in the pod. Yeah, without further ado, this is Gary Thorpe. Gary, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey Jimmy, thanks for having me on. I'm doing well today, doing well. And
Good.
after the weekend we had, I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good.
Amazing weekend. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that. A little bit nervous. Don't It wasn't the first time this season, and I don't think it's going
Well,
to be the last.
it wasn't the last time that most of the laps were watched like that a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, not easy watch. It's fun, but not always easy to watch. For those that don't know, Gary is one of the team leaders at Silverstone, and this year he just happened to be the team leader where the Lando stand was.
It may have
Um,
been on purpose. I may have made it my mission, shall we say, to make sure that I was over there. I'm lucky enough to have some brownie points stored up. I've been doing race making now since 2017.
oh, okay.
So I've been doing it for a fair few years, and I seem to have scored enough brownie points and got enough goodwill from the team that when I kind of went in, I went, I want to be over there this year. They were like, we were going to put you over there anyway. It's like, okay, good, excellent.
I would imagine that was a pretty popular spot for people to want to be.
It was a lot. It was kind of oversubscribed, yes.
Yeah, a bit like fans trying to get
A
tickets.
bit like fans trying to get tickets and everybody trying to get a t-shirt, but we'll go into that as well. Don't mention the
I
t-shirts.
have to say, I was very jealous of everyone there because it did look insane.
Yeah. I mean, it was
Lando,
initially I was a bit concerned that it would be gimmicky and
yeah,
wouldn't, sort of cross over. And it was like, how's this going to work? But when we turned up on the first day and saw the work that had gone into like market it and make it all look the way it did, even all the food stalls at the back, what everyone saw like the stands and the bright side of the stands. What they kind of missed was like all of the food stall had the blobs on them as well. It was
wow.
the whole area was done. It was such a vibe all weekend, and obviously then all the fans turned up, and it was just neon everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, a bit like yourself, when it first got announced, you kind of, I think it was last year they announced it, it was kind of like, oh, I hope they do it right. And it's not
Yeah,
just, like a cheap sort of thing that doesn't
yeah, a
really
few stickers
work.
here and there, and not really lent into it or something. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean they definitely went all out. Obviously, everyone saw the stands on the TVs and stuff. And if you're on the socials, you would have seen lots of videos and pictures and the store. I mean, Lando himself went and manned the store, I think,
he
on
did. Thursday morning, he
was it
rolled
the
in. He just rolled.
Thursday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just rolled in. We were all opening the gates, going, "Oh, this is going to be busy," and then it just like he just rolled in and went, "I'm going to open the store," and it was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, off you go. Yeah, thanks very much." Yeah, literally walked right past us and got out of a car and walked and opened it all up. Yeah, yeah, the store was mental. The store, everyone knows about queues at Silverstone, but the store queue was just something different, something else. I think even the LN4 guys did not quite realize. I think they kind of thought everyone in Landostand is going to come to the store, and that was it. And I think pretty much anyone who was at Silverstone walked round to try and have a look at the store. So the store was just heaving from Thursday till Sunday to Saturday afternoon, non-stop. The queues at some points we had to tell the people the queues were 3 hours long,
3 hours. I heard
just
they
for the
got up to
store.
2 hours, but
There was one
wow,
point there was a 3 hour queue, and it was just people were like, "Really?" And we're like, "Yeah," and they were still joining the end of it. So,
that is insane.
yeah, it was
So,
crazy. It was absolutely
assuming
mental.
you've never seen anything like that with regards to the
No,
stands at Silverstone
not
before.
like that. I mean, you get queues, obviously, and queues for bar, queues for this, that, and the other. But a specific queue, and the weird thing about this, because of the way it all worked out last minute and kind of being a bit pop up, it was outside of Silverstone, so it was kind of outside of the pay line. So it was you had to leave, join this massive queue for 3 hours before
Oh,
coming back in again. It was mental. It was just like I could not. Nobody could picture just how popular and busy that was going to be. I don't think even, as I say, Lando's merchandise guys and all that, they were just blown away with it. They were like, we did not see this coming. I think, as I say, I think most people who visited Silverstone came and had a look and wanted to look at the store rather than just the Lando fans in that one area. Mental, absolutely
Wow.
mental.
I had no idea it was actually outside of Silverstone. I just assumed it was inside.
No, because at Silverstone you can only merchandise official F1 apparel, so you can only do McLaren stuff. You can't do LN4, and obviously this was all
Driver
Lando's
specific. Yeah.
driver specific, so it had to be separate but close enough as possible. So that's why there was a bit of back and forth.
Wow.
Next year, I think they might tweak it somewhat. Bloody well
Well,
hope so.
I mean,
Bloody well hope so. Anyway,
if it was trial and error, they didn't do bad from what I
mm,
saw for the very
yeah,
first attempt. It looked like
absolutely. There were some teething problems, and we've been in contact. There has been some teething problems that they want to work through. Hopefully, we can iron a few of those out. But yeah,
I think
absolutely
they did
mental
they
stuff.
sell out of everything by the Sunday.
Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon. I
Didn't
remember
open
seeing a
on Sunday.
picture where they had, I'm really sorry, but we've sold out. Thank you for your
Yeah,
support, etc.
Sunday afternoon. They stayed open until like 6, 7 o'clock, and that was it, just to kind of get rid of it. And they had a few flags and stuff left, but it was not worth them turning up on the Sunday. They had literally ripped through their stock completely.
Wow. Wow. It was insane. I
Yeah,
saw, sadly, like always, I did see someone post about one of the t-shirts, the Landostand t-shirts, on eBay
yeah,
for
yeah.
stupid,
There's a
stupid
stupid
money.
amount, and that's one of the teething issues, that there was a free T-shirt for people in that area, and
Right.
the logistics of how they got disseminated out to fans wasn't ideal. It's the nicest possible way of putting it. Some people got more than one because they turned up on
Agreed.
the Thursday, got one, and then got a ticket and said, "Oh, look, use this barcode to get your T-shirt." And they were like, "We got our T-shirt yesterday. We'll try it." And got one. And so, unfortunately, some things like that will need to be ironed out. And there's been a few grumbles about it. But as I say, again, this was from a Silverstone perspective. We tried our best to manage it, but because it was separate, we didn't have a lot of say on how it worked. So we have tried to input our, for next time. But yeah, there was a few. Fortunately enough, not too many people were so upset by it on the weekend. I think it's subsequent, as you say, those greed people have suddenly look on eBay on the Monday and there's a T-shirt there that's free going for 90 quid or something. You're like, that's a bit distasteful. So I can
Yeah.
understand that point of view.
Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in, though, right? And
Yeah,
it is what it
you're
is.
always going to try your luck, aren't you? Something like that, because
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
sorry, the atmosphere looked insane. This,
yeah,
I mean, just everyone was in good spirits, which I know they are anyway at Silverstone or any sort of race around the world. But like you said, to see that much fluoro just everywhere.
every corner, every time, it doesn't matter where you were on the circuit, you could see it. Because Stowe is kind of slightly elevated as well, you could see it from a long way around, and it was just, and it wasn't. And what was great about it was the fluoro was all the way around. It wasn't like in patches. Like that whole corner was just yellow.
It was insane.
It,
You could
it
see it
was
on the
insane.
telly. I mean,
Yeah,
when Lando's coming round to that part of the track, you can't imagine, especially those first few laps,
yeah.
or even in practice, whatever. But
I think the first corner he came around in practice, when he saw it properly, because obviously he'd seen it kind of popped over on the Thursday morning, but literally it was, scattered a few people there. They hadn't turned up. When he came round on that first practice run for that Friday morning, when literally everyone was in their seat, it must have been some sight to come on, coming down the Hanger Straight under the bridge and then just suddenly just see,
bang.
bang, it's right there. It has worked. It must have been such a fill up for him.
Yeah, because it was a risk. It was. I mean, no
Yeah.
one's done that before, have they?
No, and there was a lot of talk over the weekend going, why hasn't Lewis done it? Why hasn't any of the other British drivers previously done it? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, he didn't ask for a start. And would any of the others, and this was a big conversation all weekend, would any of the other drivers currently on the grid have the same pull to do that, to that scale? I think, we talked about it, so that maybe some others could have a slightly smaller grandstand, but I don't think any of the other drivers on the grid right now could do a whole Stowe complex, if you like.
I
I
think
mean,
maybe back
it's so
when
popular, they had to put an extra stand in.
I know it's
There's
insane.
only Stowe ABC, and they thought, uh-oh, we have to build another one. There's so many people who want another. It's like madness, absolute madness.
It's insane. I do wonder if maybe Lewis could have done it, especially when he was with McLaren, sort of winning when he won the
Yeah,
championship and stuff. Maybe I would have thought he
that was.
probably
I think
could.
that was. He probably could have done then McLaren, and then into the Mercedes years when he was really dominating. If he'd have got it then,
Yeah,
I think he would have been all right. But then, he got the straight named after him, so
yeah, that's he's
you
not
know,
done bad, has he?
he's not bad out of it. But
I
yeah,
mean,
it was interesting to see.
Lando fans are crazy in the nicest possible way. They are
They are
crazy.
fanatics, right? Everyone says what does fan stand for? You got to remember it stands for fanatics, and they
Yeah.
are fanatical about his support and a lot of emotion involved in that whole weekend. People were like, made it their best weekend of their lives and all that sort of stuff. And that's amazing. For me, it was amazing to see how invested they were in the racing and everything else. And uh, they get a bit of a bad press. I think it's safe to say there's a bit of a swings and roundabouts with Lando's fans because there's like, oh, they're all a bit, drive to survive, dramatization type stuff. But they love supporting him, and the passion and the energy they brought for the whole weekend was just something else.
Yeah, it's like I said before. I think it was Andy on the last episode I was speaking to about it. Some people don't like the fact that the younger generation are coming through because of Drive to Survive, and Lando's fans in particular are a lot of younger females, shall we say?
The
But in my
stand, it was one of the things I wanted to just, sorry to jump in,
no,
but
no, not at all.
it was so we had to specifically, when as a team leader, we had to get more female race makers to join us for this specific area because the ticket sales generally across Silverstone is 51-49, roughly. It's usually a pretty even spread. For the
Right,
Lando stand area, 70% female tickets,
I'm not
massively
surprised.
overstuffed. Yeah, it was like, wow, that is so we had to kind of shift our whole sort of mentality of who we had on and stuff like that. So it just, yeah, I mean, it was predominantly female orientated, which was completely bizarre sort of scenario.
But I mean, like some people have got issues with it. Fine, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I get that, especially the old school sort of original
The
F1
gatekeepers, should
fans,
we
if you
call them?
like.
Yeah,
But the way I see it, it's just more fans. One for the sport, two for the team, and three for the driver.
yeah,
That can only be a good thing, right? They're on social
exactly.
media, they're going to races. They're not just sat in, I mean, I didn't go to the race. I'm sat in my armchair watching it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what gets me. Is like as you say, it's the old school, new school sort of. Oh, you're only a Drive to Survive fan. You don't understand. It's like no, they love the sport. It
yeah,
doesn't matter that they don't understand the nuances of tire pressure, or they don't
yeah.
understand what it was like when there was only 8 races a season, and oh, you will never understand that sort of. Okay, fine. Sports moved on since then. I don't
Times
know if you've
changed.
right. I don't know if you've noticed, but the sport's a bit different now. It's not got V12 engines. It's not got refueling. You're not got blokes in the pits with like hot pants shorts on. If you watch those 70s and 80s races where
Yeah.
the safety would this didn't exist. Sport's different now, so of course you're going to get a different level of fans. You can't sit there and go, oh, you shouldn't be watching this. You're only watching it because of the driver. So what? They're still watching the sport. They're still keeping Formula One relevant. They're still making, still putting bombs on seats, still buying tickets, still making sure that Silverstone can host next year's race by buying the tickets from this year. What's the problem? But
I'm with you. I'm
yeah,
absolutely with you. I've got no issue with it whatsoever. And listen, that's nothing against people that have got issues. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, like I say. But for me, I mean, it can only be a good thing.
yeah,
Like you said, how popular that Lando stand was.
it's amazing. And I think Drive to Survive has a lot to answer for
Yeah,
in the fact that if you watch it and you think that's real, that's a bit of a problem.
it, it's
What
it's
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 not. It's
Hollywood, isn't
drama.
it?
It's Hollywood. It's dramatization. It's edited in such a way, and that started to come through now. I think a lot of the drivers have been like, "Hang on, the way you edit certain things makes it look really bad when you've taken something from like literally 2/3 way through the season and
Yeah.
smashed it into like week 1 or 2, making it look like there was some problem." So I think it has to be taken with a pinch of salt. It's a great series. I love it. I love it, because it's part of the season. Drive to Survive comes out, you binge Drive to Survive,
Yeah.
testing,
Season
go.
starts.
It's season starts. It's perfect, but you've got to realize that Drive to Survive is, as you say, Hollywood Formula One with a Hollywood slant on it.
Yeah.
As long as you go in with that, then you should be okay.
Personally, I find it really entertaining.
Yeah,
It did help
and
me
it is.
get back into
That's
the
it. It's
sport.
entertainment. It's meant to be entertainment. It's not
Yeah.
meant to be documentary. It's not meant to be whatever.
No, it helped me get back into the sport, but like you say, you take it with a pinch of salt. A bit like the F1 movie. I don't know if you've seen it or what you thought of it. I
Yeah,
thought it was
Top
really
Gun
good
on
for
four
what it
wheels.
was. Yeah,
It's Top Gun on four wheels. That's what I went in looking at it as. I mean, the benefit of watching them film it last year and
of
seeing Brad
course.
Pitt driving around,
Yeah,
and it was just like you could see what they were trying and what they were doing and how they integrated it is amazing. But it
yeah,
really is Hollywood, Top
yeah,
Gun with a
absolutely.
bit of F1. Just go in with that mentality, you'll love it. Don't go in there going, "Oh, that's not very realistic," and
Picking out all the
that's not what
specifics
it's
and
for. It's
technical
supposed
side.
to. That is entertainment. It's not F1 the documentary.
I actually think they did it really well. I
I
was
thought,
chatting to a friend of mine I went and watched it with. We went and watched it the night it come out, and I said to him, all I want is for this film to not suck.
yeah,
Doesn't have to be a great one of the greatest films of all time. It just has to not suck.
yeah,
And it was actually better than that. I honestly, I really enjoyed it. I think, like you just said, I got that good bit of advice before I went. I think I read one of the reviews, and it was like, leave your Formula One technical head at home.
yeah.
Not that I'm an engineering mind by any stretch of the imagination, but leave that side of it at home and just enjoy it for what it is. And I think they did a really good job on it, to
Yeah.
be fair.
And as soon as you put Jerry Bruckheimer near anything like that, you got to understand what it's going to be like.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
going to be it's not going to be Apollo 13 with all its nuances and very specific scientific side of it. He's just going to go, what makes it go fast? What makes it go crash? What makes it go bang? Oh, and it put four wheels and put Brad Pitt in it.
yeah,
Go for
yeah.
it, right?
Pretty
I
much,
mean,
pretty much. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it anyway. But there we go.
people should go
Um,
and watch it. I definitely advise people to go and watch it. But
oh,
again, as I
100%.
with a pinch of salt, this is F1. Get involved in F1, enjoy that movie, and then come and watch the season with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree to that. We've gone off on a massive tangent from the off. My first question is normally,
Welcome to talking to me.
I don't even know how long in we are, but my first question is going to come now, probably halfway through. Why are you a McLaren fan?
Ooh, that is a good question. So I'm thinking back when it first started, because obviously I'm a little of the older generation. I'm gonna, but I'm of the BBC One ITV switch over generation
Yes,
of
I
watching
was there for
F1,
that
right?
too.
I was there for that. And you think drama now. You could have not imagine the drama when BBC lost the F1 and it went to ITV. Oh my goodness. But
Yes.
thankfully, we ended up with Martin Brundle from the ITV. So let's never forget what we got Martin Brundle with from the ITV. So I've been watching now for a long time, and back then, football and all the other big sports were nowhere near as big. You had Match of the Day back then. That was pretty much it. Your Saturdays and your Sundays were Grandstand or Formula One when it went to ITV, but it had a place in the sporting sort of cycle and the calendar
Yep.
that fit perfectly because it was a summer sport at that point, 8, 10 races max. You
Yeah.
think back to those days, right? And it fitted in that perfect slot. So you didn't have anything else to watch. And when it was free to air, you didn't have to pay for a subscription. It was right there in front of you. And McLaren at the time, the first years of watching, it's the MP4. It's the MP44. It's the, the classic red, white, striking car driven by the best drivers. As a kid, you gravitate towards the best team and the best drivers.
Yep.
Just like when you're growing up and you were a football fan, unless football's slightly different in this country because it's generally sort of generational. And your dad says you're going to support this team, doesn't matter whether or not they're good, bad, or ugly, right?
I'm having that
But
fight with my son right now, but that's a whole
yeah,
new
he,
story.
he wants to be a City fan, right? And you want to
Yeah.
say somebody
Yeah.
else, please, and he's not
Absolutely.
local. Yeah, but with Formula One, it was kind of like okay, it's such a out there sort of sport. You're never really gonna have to you know, tribalism fight over who you're supporting. These were the teams that were right at the front. Those are the
Yeah.
teams you support. But like football, that's the first team you choose. Therefore, that's the team you pinned your hopes to. That's the team you ride with, no matter what. And then like Formula One, and what's great about Formula One is those peaks and troughs and everything else. You get those years where, McLaren have been absolutely dominant, and those years where they were just nowhere, absolutely nowhere. You almost forgot they were on the grid, especially from a TV perspective. You're like, where's McLaren gone? What does he even look like this year? Because
Yeah.
you barely got it, and we all remember those years. But those were when I started watching, and so I remember sort of Prost and Senna. I remember Mika Hakkinen. I remember those sorts of years, and I remember watching them come back again. And Formula One's been awkward in the UK from that sort of switched to ITV, which was okay, but it kind of threw adverts in the middle of the TV races, which
That was
was
always the
so
biggest problem,
always the
wasn't it?
biggest
Yeah.
problem. It was like this race is a bit slow. We'll throw an advert on, and everyone, all the hardcore fans, even back then, were like, "You can't go for an advert in the middle of a race." And like, probably could have done, quite frankly. You didn't miss anything. Michael Schumacher was 16 laps ahead of everybody else, and it didn't really matter. And
But it
those were, and
did.
the
But
fact
it
that
did matter.
but it did matter to absolutely everyone, and every second counts because then it did every second count because it was an 8 race season. It was done before it really felt like it had got started.
Yeah.
Okay, points were obviously different and everything else, but it was such a condensed pinnacle and such a passion for such a short period of time, and then it was gone. And the length that you had to wait for it to
Oh,
come back as
it
well.
was painful.
That was painful. Those, you think now, and everyone's complaining about the 3 week downtime for the summer break, and you're like, just imagine the winter break that used to start in like September and not
Yeah.
restart again until March or something. It was like that's how long it used to be. You have to sit and wait around. And then growing up, as I was growing up, I was quite scientific as I grew up through school and stuff. So I loved the fact that it was a sport, but it was an engineering, sciencey sort of sport. So I loved the whole nuances of, the strategy and the fuels, and you calculate how much fuel this car's got because it's going so speed. All of that sort of stuff just kind of stuck with me, and it made me love the sport more for the overarching sort of sport side of it. The behind the scenes, the engineering, the tires, the aerodynamics, all of the stuff that
All
makes
the extra details. Yeah.
yeah, all the other stuff that makes Nigel Mansell's car go really fast, or oh look, isn't it great that Ayrton Senna sits on the side pod and gets to the lift home? I mean, I vividly remember watching that. The
It was my
flag,
first real memory of Formula
yeah,
One, that was.
people just pouring onto the track,
Yeah. Of course,
just
that was at
insane.
Silverstone as well,
That
wasn't
was at
it?
Silverstone,
Yeah.
everything, and I mean, I think my first vivid memory was that, and Nigel's tire going at Adelaide.
Yes.
Was it? Yeah, it was Adelaide, wasn't it? Yeah, but I think that might
Uh,
have almost been the same year.
it
I
poss
think it
Oh, I can't remember. Now you've got
It's
me.
either, I think it was either
Yeah, now you've
he
got me.
almost, no, I think it was the year before. He was going to win the championship and his tyre blew at Adelaide. And so he couldn't win it. And then I think he won it next year. Anyway,
We'll do a
that's,
check. I'll have to check that now.
someone's going to have to check. Someone will have to do a fact check on it. But those are the kind of vivid memories. Then you think, if that's my vivid memory, that was Adelaide in 19, whatever it was. I must have been
92,
up at, I must have been up at 3 a.m. in the
91.
morning because
Yeah, over the other side of the world. Yeah.
over the
I
other
think
side of the
the
world.
I
The
think
timings were different, though. I'm
when
sure they were.
Senna got the taxi, I think that was 91, if my memory serves me right. I was meant to check that because I mentioned that on a recent podcast as
Mm,
well. I'm sure that was 91 with the Senna getting on Mansell's
on the
car.
side pod. Yeah.
That was my first memory, which
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine that happening today? It just wouldn't happen, would it? It wouldn't be
Just
allowed.
wouldn't be allowed, health and safety and whatever else. And you get that. The cars are completely different now and whatever else. But and also the characters and you're probably from that sort of period as well. There was a lull. There was a dearth of characters in Formula
Yeah.
One for a while. And so it struggled with how do you sell yourself to a new audience? Because who wins? Oh, the red car, Michael inside. How many times has he won? So many times. So many times. Who's going to win this year? Michael Schumacher. How do you know? Because he's won the last year and he won the year before and he's going to win this year and he's got the best team and he's got the best squad and he's got the best car. Who's his teammate doesn't really matter. Can't remember half the time. Does anyone half the time? Nobody remembers Michael Schumacher's teammates. Eddie Jordan, maybe.
Eddie Irvine.
Eddie Irvine. Sorry, yeah, Eddie
So for
Irvine.
me, Eddie Irvine was like the perfect teammate for Schumacher. He was just
Because
quite
Eddie
happy
just
being
didn't
number
care. He was a
two.
playboy. He loved his
Just,
life. He had the
yeah,
best life. Absolutely.
yeah.
And every now and again, he kind of won a race.
Hi
And it's
Eddie,
like,
can you
oh,
do this for Michael? Yep, no problem.
sure,
Yeah.
whatever, whatever. How much am I getting paid? Absolutely. Have I got a girl waiting for me as soon as I get out of the car? I'm all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
and those are the things that I remember.
yeah, absolutely. You touched on then. I mean, you can't imagine now with the so many races, there only being that few races. I mean,
No,
people like you said, people are moaning now when they have to wait more than a week or 2 weeks. And yeah, it's crazy. The amount of
it's
races
different
is
work.
crazy. But I mean, it's great
The
for
amount of
us,
work.
but
It's
it's hard
fantastic
for the
for
team.
fans, but it's absolutely backbreaking and for the engineers and the teams that
Yeah,
basically live out of a trailer for 11 months of the year.
yeah. It's
In
insane.
effect, it is a lot of time in it,
I
and
think a
I
lot of
think it's
people don't appreciate the amount of work that goes on
no,
either behind cloud, and that's not being patronizing to anyone. I wasn't aware until I was sort of educated on it last year, just how much, I mean, the cars get stripped down.
literally
Each component gets stripped down. I can't remember how many parts now. Is it like 15?
individual when you
I
strip it
can't
right down. It's
remember,
like
but
it's a
again, I'll
stupid
have to
amount of
Google it.
numbers, right? Yeah,
But the
it's like
cars are literally,
15,000 bits.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
15,000, but I could be wrong. But they're literally stripped down and then cleaned up and then taken away and then gone back to the next race, put back together again. And that's happening every
every
single race.
yeah. And sometimes, depending on when the races are, you've got they have to loop them over. So because in flyaway races, you've got cars that are being built now
Yep,
to go to Zandvoort because the one's not come back yet, and it's just
yeah.
like
It's
the
insane.
the amount of effort and time and the logistics is insane. But also for those guys, you think, oh, what's the problem? The guys can just turn up and work for a week. It's not. They work literally it's not 9 to 5.
No,
It's not just Thursday to Sunday either, because they turn up on Tuesday. They got to build the motors, got to build the cars, and they got to strip it all down and pack it all away. And then they got to get in the car or get on a plane, literally fly halfway around the world and do the whole thing again. It's just so much work. And I think the season's got to saturation point. I don't think for they can probably try and squeeze another one in where the Germany run used to be,
that would have
but
to be the max.
that
I
would
think
have to be
25 it can't go more than that because as great as it is for us as fans,
it's
you're just
in
going
the
to
cost
burn
cap era.
people.
You can't do it either, because
No,
25 races is a lot of stuff. It's a lot of bits of carbon. It's a lot of tires. It's a lot of all of the other stuff that
yeah.
gets used up. You can't do, as you say, 25 races a
I
season.
can
That's
imagine,
one every two
yeah,
weeks. It doesn't add up for, how do you expect the people who work for these organizations to have any form of balance of life or else?
there
Because
isn't, is there?
there isn't a stop. If there's 25 races, it's literally one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You've got no
You're
way of
working
having,
constantly, aren't you, through
yeah,
that
it's
period?
just insane. Yeah.
As great as it is for us, it's yeah, pretty grueling for those guys. Um, I'm gonna touch on it. If you're watching on YouTube, you've seen it, and if you're not, you need to go and check it out. Gary's hat is insane. He's known for wearing bucket hats anyway, but this
Yep.
hat he's got on, a papaya hat with LN4 on. It's amazing.
It gets better. Wait, wait.
Oh, hold up. Is it going to be reversible? Oh, yes. It's reversible going into the blue with Papaya with the car and Lando Norris written across it. Amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Had to do it. I cheeky plug. There's a guy out there called Rugby Buckets. He's out there. He does loads of stuff. You send him a jersey, send him a t-shirt. I sent him a couple of kids' t-shirts, and I said, "Can you do a reversible?" Cuts them all up, puts them in a bucket hat, sends them back. Awesome.
Wow. There you
Yep.
go.
There you go.
I'll have to
Cheeky
get
plug.
following him. Yeah, no,
Cheeky plug.
100%. Yeah, go follow him. 100%. We're all for that. Absolutely. And yeah, that does look amazing as well, considering that's custom made as well. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
It's quite awesome that he's got all the bits that he needed to get on there, and
Yeah. Fantastic. Look at the detail. Fantastic. Amazing. And you're wearing the papaya with white McLaren rugby shirt as well. Very
got
nice.
got to put it on. Got to put it on. I mean, this was
Very
a
nice.
birthday gift, and so it's like everyone knows. If they're ever struggling with me, it's just like McLaren stuff. Happy days. Happy days.
Makes life easier. Have you got a favorite piece of McLaren memorabilia, merchandise?
Um, I've got. We just moved house, so it's annoying. Normally, I've got a glass cabinet over here with all bits and pieces of memorabilia. So I've got a range of Lewis's cars. So his cars through when he was in McLaren, the little
Yeah.
sort of one to 18 scale, like similar to the one you've got behind you, but the McLaren ones.
Yeah.
So all the silver ones. So obviously I love his first championship winning car, the one could drive upside down on the ceiling. That one, such detail on that is amazing. So I've got a fair few of those, but not so much in terms of driver or anything else. I just love it. I don't go into the whole merch for that. I kind of go crazy for the American football side of things, and I want to talk
Yes.
about how much side of that I've got there. But no, the McLaren side of it, I've kind of kept ostensibly just enough of a few little things, but it's starting to creep. Like some of the new stuff does look very nice.
Have you managed
Very
to get
tempted.
anything from when you're working at Silverstone?
I try to keep a professional. I say that. I mean, if anyone's seen me on TikTok when I say professional,
The dancing.
the dancing, yeah, it's
Mate, you're
not
making
real.
it fun. You're making it fun.
That's kind of, I mean, the whole point was supposed to be a party weekend, and so I thought I'm going to
Absolutely.
lean into it. Um, I have deliberately tried not to, if that makes bizarre sense. I'm there to volunteer and to make the rest of the weekend for everybody else as
Yeah.
best as possible. And that's kind of the mindset of volunteering that I go into it. So I'm not there to try and get something out of it in a weird way. They offer us massive amounts of stuff as being volunteers. You know, the end of year party. We've met drivers a few years ago when we were camping. I can say this now because it was a good few years ago. But Lewis came out to the campsite for the volunteers and met us. Met a load of us. I'm saying like that was 2018, I think.
Oh,
Completely
wow.
surprised. Literally, just a van turned up and he was like, he just hopped out and said, "Well, thanks," because even everybody knows that the Pink and Blue Army at Silverstone are all volunteers. We're there, come rain or shine, beginning
Yeah.
of the day to the end. So it's really, we feel like we're really part of it. The organisation of Silverstone and the circuit really do a lot to make sure that we feel appreciated because they couldn't put it on without us. It's quite obvious, there's 600 of us at weekends.
Yeah.
That
It's
would be a
vital,
lot of
isn't it?
that
Yeah.
would be a lot of people they would have to pay
Yeah.
if we weren't there. I mean, that's the brutal sort of honesty of it if you look at it from a cynical point of view. But a load of people, all of the volunteers do it because we love motorsport. We
Yeah.
love helping people. It's a special group of people that do it.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, like you say, I guess you have to have that professional sort of mindset when it comes to it as well, and
Yeah.
remember
I
what
mean,
you're there for. But
yeah, I mean, there are opportunities, different areas where you can volunteer. You can get there is a hospitality in group a team, so you could be volunteering in hospitality one year, and therefore the drivers walk in and out right past you because that's the area you're in. It just so happens that I tend to enjoy being a bit of an idiot out at the gates or dancing around in front of the stands and stuff like that. So for the last few years, I've either been dancing around at the park and ride. If you've ever had fun and games at the park and ride at Silverstone with all those buses and wondered who the idiot was dancing on the bollards and laughing at you in a queue, that was probably me. So yeah, I've tended to stick on the outskirts, making people laugh and having a smile and
I guess
whatever
you
else. So
can be a bit more yourself and just enjoy it more from that as well. Whereas if
yeah,
you're in
there's
that sort of hospitality side or whatever, you've got to be a little bit more sort of straight and
yeah, you've got to play it sort of straight back, as you say, because the people who are there are hospitality people.
yeah,
Whereas I'm dealing with,
yeah.
I
The
can
ones
say
that are
that
there to have
the ones that are
fun
there
and
that
just let
bought
their
their
hair
own
down.
ticket, that they've not
Yeah.
been potentially given a ticket or kind of been invited or whatever. Yeah, as
Yeah,
nice
no,
as possible
I
way of
think
saying
it's
that.
amazing. I think that's fantastic. One of my questions down the line was going to be, have you ever met any of the drivers? But you've just answered that. And
Just
what
answered
better
that.
driver to meet? Lewis Hamilton.
It was amazing. I mean, obviously, I met Lando this week last year, just gone, because I was standing at the gate as he got out of the car and said hello to him. But it, the Lewis was the first sort of one where it was like, wow. And the best thing about that was that it did emphasize how important we were as volunteers
Yeah, no, I
that
like
he
that.
came out. So
It's a
that
bit of
was
class, a
an
lot of
amazing touch.
class,
Yeah,
a lot of class. And then I assume he was just sort of himself and
just pulled
just
up
a
a camp chair,
friendly.
sat around with us, had a chat. Yeah, it just stayed for a good while, and it slowly disseminated across the campsite. There was this ripple of like, "Who's that here?" And everyone was like, "What?" But
Started
yeah,
getting
it just
busier.
so unpronounced, unannounced, whatever, under the radar. Just turned up, sat around for a good 45 minutes, having a nice chat, and
Oh
then just
wow,
thought,
I
right, you've
love
got to
that.
get back. And it was just like, it was such an amazing experience for everyone who was there, but also, as I say, just made everyone re-emphasize why we
Yeah,
enjoy
that's
volunteering there.
fantastic. I know he does quite a lot with things like that, doesn't he? And he does a lot for the Formula One Academy as well. He's a
Yeah,
big supporter of, which is
massive supporter of the
it's
the,
great to
the youth
see.
and the kids coming through there and the girls. It's amazing, and he does that without the fanfare and the show and all
Yeah,
that sort of stuff.
yeah, not just for the cameras. No,
Yeah,
it's great to see. How was Lando? I suppose you didn't get too much time to chat with him because he was pretty busy that
he was
weekend.
he was literally it was there's an army of people around him just going, you got to be here, you got to be here by then, you got to do this, do that. So yeah, I mean, I think he initially, I don't think, as I say, I don't think the whole team quite expected what they got. I mean, as you say,
Yeah,
trial and error, first year, let's see what happens. Sold out instantaneous. I think It might have gone on general sale, but pretty much most of it was gone on the Lando Norris pre-sale.
Yeah,
That's how popular it was. Um, the fact that he turned up on the Thursday and there were people queuing on the Thursday to get to his stall because they'd just dropped the information about it, like a few days before. Even on the Thursday when everyone's like, but nothing happens on the Thursday, right? It's just kind of like press
media day.
conferencing, media day, whatever. There were still fans there queuing up. And I think when he got out of the car and it was like, there's still people here, people were cheering. I think he was like, oh, this is big. Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
I can't imagine being one of them fans near the front and sort of you're just gonna have a little browse of the store, maybe get a t-shirt or a
Get
hat or
there early
whatever.
on the Thursday, yeah,
And
just
then
to see
next
what's
thing he turns up
next.
behind the
He's actually
counter.
serving you behind the counter. It'd be like, yeah, just surreal for those fans that would made the effort.
Yeah.
Must have been insane. Yeah, it must have been amazing for them.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video of him as well when his Monster can come out and he went into a shop in, I think it was in Woking,
Yeah,
one of the sort of news agents there to find it and he got it and there was a video of him and I was like, I work
I've been
sometimes I
there.
work
I
a bit
know
all
there.
over,
I work
but I
around
was
there.
working there like the week before and I text my friend a photo and said, look, I could have
Look,
been in that shop.
I,
Um,
I bought I bought my lunchtime meal in that shop.
so yeah, he does come across as just well, to be fair, most of them do just pretty genuine people and which
Yeah,
is quite nice to see. Are you, I'm assuming you are very much a Lando fan and he would be your priority to win the championship.
construction's first, always.
That's done.
That's done. I mean, that's nailed
That's
on. I
done.
mean, that's
Yeah.
been put that way. Um, Interesting. I think, and it's weird because Oscar's more a McLaren driver in
Mm,
my mindset, because my mindset was like the heydays of Ron Dennis and everything's being very pinned down, low emotions, Iceman of Mika Hakkinen, so
Kimi
Oscar,
Räikkönen.
Kimmy, they tick all those boxes, and
Yeah.
Oscar and his level headedness ticks that McLaren driver box. But from a UK and a British perspective, I'd love Lando to get the championship, especially after last year and how getting so close and some of the nuances and whatever else that happened. Yeah, I probably lean slightly to Lando, but I've got to say that Oscar has improved and impressed me so much when he came into it, especially after the whole Alpine texting thing. Might
Yeah.
as well put that out there because that's kind of 2 years ago, wasn't it? It was a few days ago where he was like, oh, by the way, I'm not driving for that team. Yeah, which that's as an introduction to being a McLaren driver, it's pretty impressive. But I do like what Oscar does. I think it just in my mindset, he just ticks that McLaren driver box
Yeah.
because, as I say, that Ron Dennis era where everything was so pinned down and everyone had to be white polo shirts, everything was tucked in. It's not what the team is now, but you can't sometimes shift that sort of mindset.
Yeah. It kind of doesn't matter. It feels, of course, it does matter. It feels like it doesn't matter if he wins the race or crashes out of a race. His emotions are just going to be the
Yeah, it's
same
just like,
regardless.
oh well,
I'm
yeah,
sure inside he's going crazy, but
I'm sure he's over the wall, over the moon. But he wins, and he's like, yeah, great, good job. And he goes and crashes out. It's like, oh well, bad luck. And you're like, but that's maybe how he's got to being as successfully as he is. It's keeping his emotions on a level playing field.
I kind of feel Oscar's going to get many more chances to win championships. I don't know about Lando. I kind of feel that Lando has to be this year, and I
Yeah,
don't know
Lando's got
why.
a win. I don't know. It just feels like Lando's got a window.
Yeah, I guess
I
that's
think
what I'm
that's what
getting
it
at.
is. Because I think when Oscar joined and Lando had been with the team, Oscar was the junior driver, and everyone was like, okay. And the team was getting back to where it's supposed to be. So the pressure was much reduced last year. And they kind of, you remember, I don't know if everyone remembers, but the beginning of last season, they were really bad,
Yeah,
really bad, right?
yeah,
So there was very little pressure. And, it was kind of understanding the team dynamics. But when they obviously Andrea Stella came in and tweaked a few things and unlocked the potential, and the pressure ramped up. That's when Oscar, I thought, came to the fore towards it, and and you
mm,
saw that sort of methodical approach, and and Lando has been tagged and labelled with this emotional, can make mistakes, can crack under pressure, and I think going back to that drive to survive thing, one of the key sort of moments or key scenes is when I think it's a bit irrelevant now, but the interviewer says to Christian Horner, if you could have one driver from McLaren, who would it be?
and he
And
said
there was
Oscar.
no hesitation. literally, the question was barely finished, and he was like, "Oscar, I'd have Oscar
Yeah.
before," and that kind of shows that that mentality is kind of appreciated across the board. So I think, as you say, I think Oscar will stay at that level for longer. I think Lando may fluctuate up and down and have those emotional sort of highs and lows. So yeah, I feel he's got this year, maybe next year window, saying next year, hoping that they've got the 2026 car.
Next year's a free for all, isn't it? Who knows how it's going
Absolutely.
to be next year?
I've
I
got
think
a,
this
yeah,
year we kind of knew that McLaren were going to be up there. We kind of thought Ferrari would be up there, of course, but yeah, I think
yeah,
next year, I mean, it could be anyone's.
shuffle the deck next year. Shuffle the
Yeah,
deck. Could be
I do
anybody next
fancy
year.
Aston Martin to be really, really strong next year. I mean,
Yeah,
how can you bet against Adrian Newey? I'm not sure.
exactly. Especially the fact they got him in when they did. He's
Yes.
been working on that. I got a sneaky suspicion Williams are going to be very good next year because
Yeah.
they've been working on their car pretty much since last season. I think this year's Williams car's had a few tweaks, sent out the door and gone, there you go. That's as good
Just
as it's
get
going to
through the year.
get through, get some points early on, and we'll because
Yeah.
next year is all about everything next year. So I think a lot of teams in that lower midfield are probably in the same boat, and they've kind of
Mm,
gone, next year's such a change. We've got to either let's just get through this year, score some points where we can, and that's why I think a lot of those cars haven't made those mid-season adjustments or improvements because they've had to go, well, do we improve this car and score 3 more points all season, or do we go put all that money to next year and suddenly be scoring second, thirds,
yeah.
podiums, and whatever else? So yeah, really interesting next year.
Yeah, it certainly will be. Just want to go back to Lando and Oscar again. One of the things that really bothers me, and it doesn't matter if they're Oscar Piastri fans or Lando Norris fans, I hate this whole, oh, McLaren are favouring Oscar, or right
Oh,
now, McLaren are favouring Lando. The Hungary Grand
conspiracy
Prix.
theory. Yeah,
Yeah,
last year's conspiracy theory of this,
it
that, and the other.
irritates me
Oh,
so much. The Hungarian Grand Prix, Lando won. He had no right to win that. The
no,
reason he won it is because he had such a terrible start. If he didn't
yeah.
have that terrible start, he wouldn't have done the strategy he done. And what
It's an
people,
interesting one because I look at that going, he had a terrible start because he listened to team orders because he had a great start, but then was down the inside and went, if I make a move, if I take this corner, I'm wiping Oscar out
yeah,
and potentially wiping myself. So he went like, and if you watch it back, he really came off the gas and braked
he
well
had
early.
to.
He had to because otherwise he's taking out his teammate, and he was like, well, I can't do that. And as you say, he ended up in fifth because momentum and everything else. So bad start, listening to team orders, whatever you want to call it, put him in that position. So he had to. And I think, it quite obvious on the radio. And he was like, Lando, do you think you can make a one stop work? And he was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Because he was like, he was battling fifth and fourth or fourth and fifth, one
he
way or the
had
other.
to go for it.
He's got to do something different. And, the fact, yeah, I mean, it was a great strategy call and he made the tires work and everything else. So that's an amazing
He
bit of
turned into
strategy.
Oscar with regards to looking after them tyres because it's
Yeah,
what Oscar's
tire
been
whispered
so
it. Yeah,
amazing at.
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Lando's not bad at it, but he that was phenomenal how
It was
he
an
got
amazing
to the end of that race.
that first stint was what impressed me more than the last stint with the
Yeah,
hards because he made those medium tires last almost longer than anybody else.
but I believe the hards they were used as well, weren't they?
They were
I'm
scrubbed
sure.
hot. I think they were scrubbed once. I think they'd had one lap, so I don't think they
Right,
were
okay.
brand new. I don't
Oh,
think they were
okay.
used. I think they'd gone out, come
Right.
back again type thing.
But also, what people, not everyone, I'm not painting everyone with the same brush, of course, but what these fans that accuse McLaren of favouring one or the other, what they might not be taking into account now is, like we just said, McLaren, all bar an absolute disaster, have won the constructors. That's in the bag.
Yeah. What
Now,
are they now? Like 400 points ahead or
oh,
something now,
it's
man.
ridiculous, isn't it?
Something like so. They've
It's
lapped the field basically.
I love that they're going, let the drivers race. I know they were doing it all season and all last year, but now
Papaya rules, or
more so
whatever
than
they're
ever,
calling it.
why
Yeah,
not let them race? Let them just battle it out for the championship. But you've got a Lando side of the garage and you've got an Oscar side of the garage. They're gonna be
this
against each other
this
now.
inherent in Formula One is you want to beat your teammate.
Yeah,
That is the be all and end all as a
yeah,
driver in Formula One. Doesn't matter if you're driving the worst car or the best
yeah,
car. You want to beat the guy across the garage from you
yeah,
because that's who you're measured against, right? You can't
yeah.
be measured against the guy in the Ferrari and the guy in the Aston Martin or whatever else because it's completely different machinery. you measured against that guy, and it's a competitive world. These are competitive athletes. They're going to want to beat each other, and that's not just the guy driving the car, but all those engineers who are
Yeah,
putting those bits into it. They're also competitive and professional. They want that car to be better. They want to win the internal team battle,
of course they do.
and of
There's
course they
no
do
difference to
because
any other team.
absolutely no whatsoever. So there's no favoritism from on high. It's just how it's playing out. Two competitive drivers and in a team that is, what was it, 25 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Of course, the only battle they have is within themselves between each other. So of course it's going to get heated, and there's got to be. Yeah.
But what
You've
I
just got to
don't,
accept it's a team sport with drivers rather than it's a driver-led sport. The
yes,
drive, yeah, that's
yeah,
the bit that I think those, should we say, newer fans or the sort of stand fans, which is one of those labels that are given. You're either support Lando or you hate him, and no, that's the thing that I don't quite understand either. It's like
no,
I'm a Lando fan or I hate everybody else. It's like, well,
yeah,
you don't have to hate everybody else just because you support Lando, or
yeah,
you're an Oscar fan and you hate everybody else. It's like that's not really how it works. I mean, I'm a McLaren fan first and foremost. Love watching George Russell race because of the way he drives and the way he's very smooth on the steering and stuff like that.
very
I think
underrated driver.
very underrated driver. He's
Always
kind
goes
of
about his business quietly.
doesn't make any waves or anything else, and I think he's somehow he gets bad press for that
Yeah,
because he doesn't kind of make any noise. But I think I love that he's very much like a Jensen Button driver, very
yeah,
smooth, very simple, understated, whatever else. Gabriel Bortoleto, I think, is going to be a star of the
yeah.
future.
He looks phenomenal.
Yeah, he looks super quick. And I think Ollie's quite an interesting one who give him a decent bit of machinery. I think he could actually surprise a few people. But, that's being a fan of the sport. So, yes, I can love my team and want my team to win, but it doesn't mean I hate everybody else because there's no sport that way if it's just one team only.
No, I'm with you. And I think what some people say is, oh, Zach Brown acts differently when Lando wins. Well, maybe he does a little bit. Maybe he has got a little bit of favoritism. Lando's his
It's,
baby. Lando's been there with
Lando's
him
been at the team
through.
for 6, 7, 8 years now, or
Yeah,
whatever it is, right? So, yes, he's going to have a different relationship with the CEO, team principal, whatever Zach is. I can't quite remember. He changes all the time. To a guy who's come in 2 years ago. Yes, because Lando was there during the FP3 game. We all remember, Fernando Alonso and the FP2 engine.
yeah,
Lando was also driving that horrid car.
yeah.
So the fact that he's been there through that, hasn't jumped ship, because I'm sure he probably got offers.
Well, I mean, if you believe what the Drive to Survive said, there was a point he was seriously considering moving.
Hmm.
Whether that was just heavily edited, we don't know.
Yeah.
But I bet he's sure as hell glad he didn't now.
Oh yeah, yes, and it's those swings and roundabouts, as I say, the peaks and troughs of Formula One. You don't know, and if anybody, as an example to anybody, Fernando Alonso
Yeah.
is the man who's probably made so many bad decisions at just the wrong time.
Mm,
He's gone to cars or gone to teams that are just on the wane rather than the other way around. Whereas Lewis kind of joined McLaren, and everyone, when he left McLaren and went to Mercedes, everyone was like, "What are you
that was
doing?"
a bizarre, yeah. Didn't
Everyone, you
turn out
remember
too
that? Everyone
bad,
was
did
like,
it?
"What are you doing? That's the crazy thing. Why are you doing it?" Oh, it's turned out all right, didn't it? So that's the joy of Formula One. It's never a plateau. It's never always the same, and it's being in the right place at the right time in the right car and everything else. So I'm not. If it did happen, would have been as a Formula driver when the car was that bad. You would be stupid not to have looked around, going, "Is there another seat for me to go into that's
Yeah.
in a better car?" The fact he didn't, and he stuck with it, and now he's suddenly driving a rocket ship. He's got to love that, and
Yeah.
the team's got to love that he stuck with it.
Showing loyalty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is an
absolutely
unusual
agree.
thing in sports, I suppose. You do get loyalty a bit more in Formula One than
Mm,
in other sort of more transient sort of transfer fees and whatever else. You don't tend to get that too often. They
no,
tend to see out their contracts.
unless you're Red Bull Racing, but we won't go into
Well,
that.
listen, we won't go into the second seat.
Another thing that I do understand, but I don't, is fans of other teams that aren't McLaren. This is boring. McLaren are always there. This is boring. Part of me understands that. We sat through the Max years for so long. We went through the Michael Schumacher years for even longer. But
It,
what's what is so
The
very
Lewis Hamilton
different?
years. It's
Lewis
like, yeah,
Hamilton years, yeah, right. So it's been like it forever. What is very different to me about this year is, yes, it's the McLaren year, but we don't know which driver's year it's going to be
mm,
yet. And whichever one it is not going to run away with it.
no,
That's not happening. This I can see going down to the very last race of the season. Now you might not be a McLaren fan and enjoy that, but it still has to be exciting to watch.
it still keeps an intrigue, as you say. It's not unusual for Formula One to have a dominant team,
Yeah,
right? Just aerodynamics engineers are clever people. They find tweaks, they find
yeah.
things. The Brawn year, if you ever remembers Brawn absolutely destroying the field in the tiny little team, it was a boring year because it was great story and Hollywood Cinderella story, but they were so far ahead of the field for the first 8 races. It was boring.
But then you had the
Max
two
Verstappen,
drivers there as well.
two
Either of
drivers
them could
who
have
was
done
going
it.
to, yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas the Max years, it was just Red Bull, Red
yeah.
Bull Max was winning, right? And then
But there
prior
was
to that, it was
never
just Seb.
Perez
No,
or whoever was never involved. It was always just Max, or like you just
yeah,
said, sorry, with Vettel, it was just Vettel. It was never
yeah,
Mark Webber or whoever, Ricardo or whoever else is second.
Kvyat or all those ones that came
Yeah,
through the door, and the Buemi years.
yeah.
There've been so many who have just been
Alex
second
Albon.
drivers. There you go. Right?
Yeah,
There's loads of drivers who are second fiddle to these, you know, complete dominant drivers. The Schumacher years, the
yeah,
Hamilton years, and Valtteri Bottas was the perfect foil for Hamilton at
yeah,
Mercedes because he was quite happy. He was going to pick up wins, pick up second places, but he wasn't rocking the boat, and it
yeah.
was a perfect foil.
Eddie
But
Irvine.
there's all, yeah, Eddie, we're back to Eddie. There's always been a dominant team, but usually it's a dominant team and a dominant driver.
Yeah,
Whereas this year it is a dominant team. They've got the best car. They've worked out the engineering. It's like this car is evolved as it's ever going to get. Which is what should happen in the series of regulations, right? The last year
yeah, yeah,
car should be as fast as it can be and have all the tweaks and have all the nuances. So it's other teams' faults that they've dropped the ball. The fact that two drivers are battling it out keeps that intrigue, and it should keep the intrigue for the non-McLaren fans because you want to see, races mean something towards the end of the season. I remember watching it going, turn it off after what sort of Spa,
yeah,
because you'd be like, well, he's won this year, then you watch the rest of the races, but
yeah.
they're processional from then. There's not been that long term keep your interest. I already mentioned that specific year. We'll skim over that one year. But this will keep going, as you say. This battle's going to run and run until the end of the season because neither of those drivers are going to run away from the other one because at most there's going to be what a 7 point swing each weekend.
I think yeah, exactly that.
Like it's not that you can't suddenly see unless something horrendous happens or like without tempting fate another Lando mistake where he puts it in a wall or crashes into the back of somebody
Or
and there's
somebody else makes a mistake at the start and takes
yeah
one out.
that's the only way that there'll be a massive gap and then the team is going to go sorry mate this guy's 50 points ahead of you, he's going to get pit stop one, he's going to get the
Yeah,
favorite sort of strategy because that's what happens. It's
yeah.
Formula One, that's the reality. So
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting season. I look forward to every race because, yeah, McLaren are going to be there or thereabouts, but there's a few shocks thrown in. Max has won a couple of races this
Max
year.
has really
Leclerc's
had no right to
he
get anywhere
really
near
didn't.
some of the
No,
pole. Leclerc
Leclerc
pole
with his
position of
pole
the weekend.
position out of
Where did that come
nowhere.
from? Everyone was like, "Oh,
Um,
it's McLaren have got this down," but where did he come from? Where did that
yeah,
come from?
that was insane. But like somebody once called it, is Monaco without the walls, right?
Yeah,
So Leclerc's
that's
going to be
that's
good,
it.
isn't
It's going to be good there.
he?
Yeah.
Just not on race day, but there we go.
No.
Sorry, Charles.
Sorry, Charles. Sorry, Ferrari. That's your fault. I think it's come out. It's something to do with the plank or something, wasn't it?
Oh,
Uh,
I
it's
don't know.
shocking.
I don't
Ferrari
know.
have been renowned for that since. It's oddly enough, since the Brawn Schumacher triumvirate. I'm trying to remember who the third guy was now. Oh, Ross Brawn, Michael Schumacher, and he's in the FIA now. Jean Todt, I think it was.
Jean Todt, yeah.
Yeah, I think those three ran that. And when they all decided, okay, we can't win anymore, and Ross went off to run his own team, whatever else. Since then, Ferrari just seem to
They
be
cannot get it right, can they?
cannot get the strategy right. They somehow can either get a really good car, or they can get like a car that doesn't break, but they just can't get the wheels on it to go in the right direction
Yeah.
somehow. It's bizarre. It's
I
very it's
do.
very it's very Italian, and it's very
I
like
know we're supposed to
but
hate Ferrari as McLaren fans, but I do really like Fred Vasseur. So I
yeah,
hope. Obviously, he signed a new contract, which is great. I hope he can figure it out. Just come anywhere below McLaren. That's fine.
yeah, just second in the championship's fine for and from a Formula One perspective, the mark of Ferrari is such a draw. It's
Yeah,
such a fan favorite. It's such internationally renowned. Everyone knows that badge. Everyone knows the Ferrari colors, right? Other teams come and go. Ferrari have been the mainstay. So
always there.
everybody in a way, everybody in Formula One has a vested interest in Ferrari not sucking.
Yeah,
Right?
because the sport is better.
The sport is better when the Ferrari goes well, all round. Well, we don't talk about the fact they get extra money just because they've been in it for the longest. No, 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 no.
Not that we're bitter.
Not that we're bitter about the extra bit that they get because hey, we're Ferrari, we deserve $10 million more than everybody else. Okay, so I think it's more than that they get anyway. Anyway,
Yeah, there we go. A couple of other questions we've already touched on. So, all-time favorite drivers, I guess, like you said, Senna and Prost, right?
Senna and Prost are up there from that era. I loved Mika.
Same.
Thought Mika was absolutely just balls to the wall speed, didn't care, just was all out pace, just didn't think, and that was the time when he could absolutely thrash those cars because you could just throw new tires and new fuel on and away you were going. Literally sprint races all the time. He would fly. But
He's
those are
my
those are
favorite
probably
driver of all time. I love
uh,
the man so
just
much.
absolutely. I mean, I love Kimmy. Kimmy's sort of complete not giving a damn about anything. Oh, I'm going to go off rallying for a year, whatever, and I'll come back and I'll win the world championship. Yeah, whatever. The ice cream moment in Malaysia it's still the best moment ever. Everyone's getting ready to go back in the car, and Kimmy's there in his shorts eating an ice cream, going, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm getting back in the car." Those kind of characters. I love Mansell's just sheer brutality. He would just bully people to win races.
Great story
Um,
as well.
Brilliant story, brilliant story. Still, I believe, the only man to hold the Formula One and the Indy World Championship at the same time.
Yes.
So, those little tweaks and stuff like that, people forget. And then recently, Seb was brilliant at what he did. Absolutely brilliant at what he was untouchable on his day. You couldn't get near the guy. Yes, he had a good car, but the other guy in the second seat wasn't anywhere as good as he was. So he was also brilliant. But what he's done subsequent to that, and how much work he's done around, the environment and everything else that he's done and supporting, there's a soft spot there. I hated him at the time. Obviously, we all
Same.
did.
I was just about to say that
Just
very thing. Yeah.
at the time, yeah, I mean, do you remember the dirge? It used to be, oh, it's the German national anthem and the Austrian national
Yeah.
anthem. Oh, the
Every
horror
weekend. Yeah.
every weekend. But now I think what he's doing, and the person that he's come out of the shell of once he's come out of the helmet is amazing.
Yeah. I was just about to say when you were talking about him, I remember hating him at the time, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's just because they were winning
that's
everything all the time, and that's
absolutely
that's what
everything
we do,
all the
right? We
time.
just hate people that win all the
I just
time.
want to no, don't win all the time. We want, and at the time, McLaren's drivers were floundering at the time. Let's be safe. It
Yes.
weren't,
Wasn't the
weren't the
best
best.
times, was it?
Wasn't the best times. So you've got to take the rough with the smooth if you love this sport.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely. Right now we're taking the smooth and long may it continue.
Long may this
Um,
slide.
this is my final question. I've enjoyed this so much, but my final question is the same to everyone. Have you got a favorite all-time moment in Formula One?
Oh, couple of weird ones spring out. As I say, the vivid memory of Adelaide and Mansell's tyre going, the absolute carnage of Martin Brundle's crash, the
Yes.
absolute carnage of David Coulthard's Spa crash. Pretty sure it was Spa where literally the field just disintegrated.
I
Um,
do remember, but I can't remember where it was.
then there's the punch up in the garage where Michael Schumacher and David
Yes.
Coulthard, that one in the rain where literally Schumacher just ramped the back of it. Webber's car flipping at Korea. I love that. The onboard shot of that is one of those memorable camera moments. If you've never seen it, go on YouTube
Yeah.
when his car flips and you can watch it flip and you know exactly when it hits the ground because it freezes. Um, those sorts of little moments like that. But yeah, I suppose Mansell winning his championship, Damon Hill finally getting his after the number of years that Michael and his, oh, my car's broken, I'll just take you out and win it that way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, little things like that that spring to mind, but probably Johnny Herbert winning Silverstone that year.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere in a Benetton. Nobody thought about he was ever going to be there. The story of, again, another
A
one of those
great
stories where
story. Yeah.
absolute Cinderella story. So yeah, those sorts of things. But it's indicative of my love of the sport that it's a Ferrari or a Red Bull or a Benetton or it's not, it's just a McLaren.
Yeah.
I only watch it just for the McLaren
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah.
It's all the other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But
Amazing.
hopefully the new one will be when Lando takes the top spot and wins the championship at
Oh,
the
it
end of
would be
this year.
amazing. I mean, he won in Australia. That must have really, really eaten away at Oscar. And I know it was a crazy race with the weather. He's
Yeah.
won at Monaco. He's won at Silverstone. The next thing is the
This is the only
championship,
thing
right?
left, right? It's got to be the next thing that's left. I mean, there's what else is there now? He's got that, as you say, he's won at Monaco. He's won where he lives. He's won his home race. He's now, it's sort of won. Yeah, he's won the home race of his competitor, his main competitor. He's got to just stamp it now. He's got to send it
Yeah.
for the next few races and absolute. And at Zandvoort, he's won Zandvoort last year, didn't he?
I believe he did, yes.
Yeah. So
It's when he
and
made a
he's
push, wasn't
quick
it?
round. Yeah, it's when he's quick round there is that. So I think the next few races, I think he's really going to push to try and flip that. Because Oscar's still got that slight advantage,
Absolutely, he has, yeah. And by the
and
way,
that's what.
I have nothing against Oscar. I love Oscar. I
Yeah,
love him. I think he's
I
great. I
think
love his
I've
driving
already said.
style.
Yeah, I've already
And
said what I think of Oscar. I
yeah,
think
his
we both
personality,
agree
everything.
he's
It's
probably
just, I
a
think
multi-world championship in the making there as well.
that's how I feel. So for me, that's why I really, really would love to see Lando do it this year. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope they're both in it for years to come. But
Yeah,
I just kind of feel like Oscar's got a lot more time, and I think he's going to have plenty of other opportunities to
yeah.
win a world championship. And I really hope Lando does too. But I kind of feel that
I
this
kind
is
of feel that
really
if
Lando's
if
time.
if Lando gets more opportunities, it won't be with McLaren. I
Yeah. Do you
think
think we'd lose a
that's
lot of those fans if Lando ever left?
the sport won't because I think they'll
No, no.
go.
But I mean, as
They'll
McLaren.
I think they'll go, and I think a lot of the newer fan, and this is that horrible sort of tarring everyone with the old fan, new fan thing. I think there are a more driver orientated fan base, so they'll
Mm.
go where the driver goes
I've
now.
got no issue with that whatsoever. I mean,
As
there's
long as they stick watching, right?
some of the old school fans that stayed with a driver, right? The reason
Yeah,
I'm a McLaren fan is because of Mickey Hakkinen. Like I've broken record, I say time and time again. I just stayed with McLaren afterwards. Had Mika have gone off somewhere else? I don't know. I don't think I would have. I love McLaren, but
it's
Lewis
an odd one,
Hamilton,
isn't it?
Lewis
It's an
Hamilton,
odd
right? There was
one.
McLaren fans. Next thing they were wearing Mercedes hats. Now they got
Yeah,
red
now they're
Ferrari
wearing.
hats, and
Yeah,
that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Everyone's different, right?
yeah, and everyone's a fan, right? And it's good for the sport as long as the fans don't leave the sport, and it ends up
Yes.
going back to those dull sort of late 80s, 90s days where nobody watched it because it was just not worth watching.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go back there. And I don't think Liberty Media would ever actually let it go there. Since they took over, they've done an awful lot to make sure that it's more of a spectacle and it's more sort of balanced and all sorts of stuff. So I don't think it'll ever go back to those dark days of the late 90s where nobody was watching it,
Yeah, I
kind
think
of
you're
tucked
right.
away on ITV somewhere and whatever else. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I think the fans will probably be more migratory for the next generation or so. They'll go where the drivers go. So McLaren right now have massive load of fans. If if Lando was to go to, I don't know,
Don't
where would
say
he
the
go?
F word.
I know where. I'm just thinking, where would he go? It's like he goes from
Nowhere.
here. He's there's everything.
Nowhere.
Everywhere he goes now is a step down. But that F word always seems to, even for Lewis, it was like, as a dream, you want to drive in that car as a Formula One driver. It's
Yeah.
something. There's a mystique about it. That's
Yeah.
the only place that I can imagine he would go. Maybe Aston because of the Adrian Newey being in Silverstone. Maybe.
Hopefully it's not something we have to worry about for the next
No.
couple of years at least.
Well,
Um,
hopefully they tie him up in a contract and he doesn't want to go anywhere and the car stays being competitive. And in the end of the day, as long as the car's competitive, why would anybody want to change?
yeah. And I think they do. I genuinely think that him and Oscar get on really well off the track. I
Mhm.
really do believe that. Oh, he's drinking the Lando Monster as well.
You would not believe how many of these I drank that weekend.
I've got one on the go myself. They're amazing, right?
Mm.
And I'm a sucker for anything like that, but they taste
Sucker
amazing. The
for market. They
watermelon is
actually,
just nice.
it's good. It's a good combo. But yeah, I went through so many of those at the weekend. It was great.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Oh,
Gary, thank you so much for joining me. Honestly, I've enjoyed this so much. I could talk for another couple of hours, I'm sure. But
that's what I love about jumping on these things and just meeting like-minded people that you just have a chat with, and
yeah,
you've said you've had some questions, but the questions have kind of just
they
been
answered themselves.
this been there, and it's been great just talking to somebody else who feels the same and has that sort of kindred love of the sport. Yes, there's a love of the team there as well, but it's overarchingly, it's somebody who appreciates those early mornings when you get up on a Friday morning or late Thursday night to watch, and then what are you watching? It's first practice. Why are you getting up to watch that? It's like, because it's first practice. Yes, it makes no difference and it's completely the wrong time and it won't make any difference to the race, but I'm still going to get up and watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. My other half says, my daughter once asked how many laps are left when I was watching it. Oh, well, how long does it go on for? And my other half said about 8 days. They just go round and round
Just
and
round
round
and
and
round.
round.
Like, how could it be exciting? They're just going round and round all the time. It's like, yeah, yeah. I've got that from my daughter as well. She's like Formula One, it's boring. It just goes round and round. And now she's starting to,
Come round.
yeah. And that's what it's interesting. I think Formula One, from that point of view, what I love about what's happened with Drive to Survive is it's captured a younger audience.
Yeah,
Formula
yeah.
One historically had an older audience
Mm,
because it's like it's not instantaneous. You can watch it and you go, they're just going round and round. That car's fast, and that's about it. It's only as you kind of evolve your understanding of the sport in general that you start to pick up on the pit strategies are different and use the fuel loads and the tires and all that sort of stuff. But as an instantaneous sort of grab and watch and turn it on Sunday, you'd be like, huh? Really?
what's
Oh, I'm
all the
turning
fuss
it. I've
about?
got 72 laps of that. Oh, I'm not watching that. Whereas the younger audience have grabbed that, and so the characters that are better this now
Yeah.
in the drivers market, and I think that's also, going back. There wasn't that. There was that period of little to no characters came through. We had that
Mm,
Prost, Senna, Hunt, Lauda, Mansell, Keke Rosberg, all of those sorts of big
yeah.
characters, and then you kind of had a period of cardboard cutout swaps, ins and outs, right? You could have replaced most of the drivers with other drivers and not really noticed much of a character difference. And I don't
Yeah.
know if that was media, stamping on any sort of slightly out there, or just the post Senna years were just bad because of what happened. And then it's now the new generation. There's a lot more characters coming through and being shown as well. I think that's the difference. I think
Yeah.
the characters of the driver are being shown, whereas those, as I say, those ITV very early Sky years, the character, the driver character wasn't allowed to come
I think
through in a weird
also with
way.
social media and stuff now, you see
Yeah,
a lot more behind the closed doors sort of
yeah.
stuff or stuff off track that you wouldn't have seen back then as well, which
You
helps.
never got that. You never, all we got was the track action.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
didn't get the behind the scenes and all
Yeah,
the nuances and the paddock stuff and the TED notebooks and all these
yeah,
things. Never got any of that stuff. You just got, here's the track,
yeah.
here's the race. Thanks very much. And you're like, all right, we'll see you next week then, I
And
suppose,
sometimes
or
you
we'll
had
see
to
you
watch
in.
adverts whilst watching.
Have to watch adverts. Oh, yeah, you had to wait for the replay because you weren't watching it live and it wasn't shown live. And you had to watch it at a sensible time because it was halfway around the world, the Malaysian
Yeah,
Grand Prix, and you didn't get it live. You had to wait until ITV decided to show the edited highlights, which was the worst thing ever. You were like,
painful.
right, how many laps is it? 52. Why am I only watching 17 laps? Where's the rest of it?
Yeah,
Anyway, oh, those were the days.
yeah.
Yay.
Thank
We
God it's
stuck
a
with
little
it.
bit easier to watch and keep up with these days. So
And yeah, and I think we are, you say it in a weird way, but we are blessed with the access, and the teams have really, and what I like is the teams really lent into the social media side of it.
yeah,
They tweet, they live tweet the timings, they're all over, they actually integrate with their fans, they really
yeah,
interact with them. So that's what's really impressive with it, because yes, they could just use it as another method of, here's some times and here's some data and here's some stats, but they've actually kind of embraced the new generation and the new way of it, and to kind of give a more behind the scenes, build the sort of the real life behind each team. So each team has kind of now a character and a type of thing about it, and you can spot that because of the social media presence filters from the team. So
Yeah.
that's what I like about that.
Yeah, and then they, like you said, they get the fans involved as well, which is awesome. So yeah, it's definitely a good. It's in a good place. The sport's in a good place. McLaren's in a good place. What's not to love?
What's not to love about it, right? That's what's to love. What's not to love is 3 weeks till the next race. Ah!
Yeah, two and a half, almost,
Two and a half.
almost two and a
It's
half.
almost 2.5 now. All right, you're looking at it. It's like 2.5 till Thursday. Free press release. And when does the weekend start?
Yeah, we'll get there, and it'll be all the more sweeter when it comes back around. Hopefully.
Indeed, indeed.
Right, Gary, thank you again, mate. I really do appreciate it. It's been so much fun. Hopefully, everyone enjoys listening and watching this as much as I've enjoyed doing it. Guys, go and follow Gary on the socials and stuff as well. And I'm sure you'll be back at Silverstone next year.
Oh yeah, try and keep me away. Try and keep me away. I'll be all over that.
So if you're
But yeah,
there, go and say hello to Gary as well.
you
I'm certainly going to try and get there next year.
you
And if
won't
I
miss
do,
me.
I will definitely come and find you and we'll do a dance
Come and
together.
see me. Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy, I really appreciate you inviting me on. I've loved having a chat with you. And thanks very much for chatting with me about all things McLaren.
No, thank you, Gary. Thank you very much. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next time, I've been Jimmy. He's been Gary. This is the Papaya Pod, a McLaren F1 podcast. Until next time, never stop racing.